earlier in my career, I was a military pilot. So, every once in a while I use military metaphors and things, but the discipline is there's two dimensions to it. The first dimension is self-discipline. And I think you've done some great work in this area as well around the discipline around being accountable, as a leader, which is so fundamentally important. But I think self-discipline kind of allows the leader to kick it into a higher gear. It allows you to kind of put the throttle into afterburner and really leverage the other four principles. So in the book, I describe, some of the behaviors that are, indicative of the best leaders. They're builders, they're not dividers. That the empathy that they bring in their leadership, the grit they have, the mission focus they have, and the expertise in communications, are some of the things that disciplined leaders have built deep skills around. So there's that piece. The other piece comes back to team. And, what I try to communicate in the book is that, the culture is really the execution engine of the company. And what I believe after being in companies for a long time is that you can change culture one team at a time. And so, becoming very knowledgeable about culture, being the way that work gets done, and recognizing that your culture gets defined by the worst behavior you're going to tolerate.
Yeah.
And really driving out the bad behaviors and rewarding and emphasizing the kinds of behaviors that allow the team to accomplish extraordinary things over the long term. So that discipline for me is the higher gear, right? It's the afterburner of performance, and that the best of the best draw on.
Yeah. And you can sense it right away, right? You can just sense it anytime you interact with a leader, the discipline they have, the responsiveness they demonstrate, and you quickly get a sense of who they are and what it's going to be like to kind of work with them. And then those who may not be as disciplined look maybe somewhat erratic, and that gives you a completely different impression, which typically, isn't favorable. I love the line, what you just said around, you change culture sort of one team at a time. And certainly you not only have set the tone as a strong senior C-suite leader, but you've also, built strong leadership cultures. And what have you learned is sort of critical in doing that?
Well, I think at the cultural level, I think to build a high performing culture, and one of the things that I did some work with Dave Ulrich. He's a very knowledgeable, insightful person.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he taught me was that, we were talking about keeping it simple, and the role of the leader at a high level is to do two things: drive value to customers and shape and build a high performance culture. And so I've always believed that, because it's simple and it's easy to understand, and it allows the leader to focus. But I think it starts with the right people, right? And when you have the right people in your organization, there's an old adage that says, if you get the right people on your team, and the best direct reports never have to be managed.
Yeah.
They see their roles as a responsibility, not as a job. And so when you get the right people on board, you have such an opportunity to build something special. And you have alignment on values, and you have people with the right strengths. And by having alignment on values, it allows you to really have more discussion and debate. It's not people think the same, they don't, but alignment on values allows you to start with a handshake and a point of commonality.
Yeah.
And that allows the kind of debate that you need to have in order to make the right business decisions.
Yeah.